The Greek god Dionysus is perhaps one of the oldest gods in ancient Greek religion, since worship of Dionysus in particular dates back to the Minoan-Mycenaean period. Worship of Dionysus may even be a remnant of pre-Greek culture. Evidence of previous worship can be seen in the etymology of his name. The origin of the god's name Dionysus is considered lost, but is thought to contain the word Zeus. Even Dionysus's mother's name, Semele, appears to lack a Greek origin and could be a variant of Sanskrit or a. As we know, gods in mythological tales tend to echo similar stories in other cultures. Consequently, the worship of Dionysus can be tied to the Egyptian worship of Osiris, the god of nature characterized by his green skin. Although Dionysus does not share the attribute of death that Osiris does, Dionysus is connected to death in a different way by his symbol of rejuvenation. Other symbolic representations of Dionysus include wine, ivy, satyrs, centaurs, bulls, and serpents. The ivy highlights his powers of fertility and nature, while the wine and serpents demonstrate his connection with the frenzy of life and the deviousness of human nature and the natural world. The worship of Dionysus in all his forms were concentrated in Athens, the island of Naxos, and Mount Kithairon, but his following or cult following stretched as far as the Greek colonies. Just as the location of worship changed, so did the worship of Dionysus. The very first depictions of Dionysus portrayed him as a mature god with heavy robes and a beard, while later depictions showcased him as curvaceous and effeminate with oiled locks. These differences together suggest a changing interpretation of the god over time. Since Dionysus was a prominent god in ancient Greek religion, he was celebrated as such. The biggest celebration to honor Dionysus was called Anthesteria, which lasted 3 days. All kinds of people joined in the celebration, including women, children, and even slaves. The first day, called Pythoigia, began at sunset and commenced with the opening of the first wine of the year. Coace, the second day of the festival, includes a drinking contest in which children even participated. On this day, the domain of the dead spirits was extended from the confines of their graves and were released from Hades to roam freely. For protection against these spirits, Greeks would smear pine sap on their doors and keep the spirits at bay. Also on this day, shrines and temples to other gods were closed in order to celebrate Dionysus solely. The last and final day, Kai Troi, was celebrated by having a marital ceremony in the Agora to show the marriage of Dionysus and Ariadne. Ariadne is played by the female ruler of Athens, who becomes her and marries the invisible god himself. The origin of this marital ceremony on the final day derives from the festival's origination. Theseus supposedly founded the festival in Dionysus's honor, since he was the reason Ariadne supposedly broke her vow to Dionysus. So in return, and as a show of good piety, Theseus founded the festival and put a wedding ceremony in it to show his blessing to the couple despite his misdemeanor. Finally, to close the 3-day festival, sacrificial offerings of meal and honey were offered to Hermes in order that he would transport the souls back to Hades. The cult of Dionysus came before this great festival. The predating of the cult stemmed from its marginalized stance in Greek society, since Dionysus did not portray the Olympian image. The cult centered around the concept of winemaking through the plucking of the grapes, fermentation, and the final opening, all reflecting the cycle of life. The role of wine in the cult was said to be the medium of liberation and the product of Dionysus actually possessing the body. Due to the low alcohol content of ancient Greek wine, other trance-like aspects were added to the rituals, such as dance and hallucinogenic substances. Unlike in modern times, when cults are exclusive clubs, cults back then were an extra mode of worship. Cult initiation has 4 stages in the Dionysiac cults. First, one person must conceive the desire to join and then apply. This is followed by the preparation period, of which the cult decides. Then the sacred rites were performed, and finally, the person is integrated with other initiates. The mode of which the cult goes about how to initiate someone and the preparation period has long been lost since these things were kept secret. Euripides' Bacchae truly represents the concept of the cult of Dionysus by highlighting the frenzy of the rituals and the trance-like attributes and songs as seen by his phrase in line 83, Ite Bacchae, Ite Bacchae.